Hello. Hey, Chewy, how's it going? Welcome on in, everybody. Welcome back into the Dragon's Den. My name's Digital Dragon, 3D printing variety streamer here on Twitch. I swear this camera seems to want to go wherever it wants to every single. But that's okay. We actually had a power outage earlier today that knocked some things out of whack. Fun. Takes a little work to come up. There we go. A little bit better. All righty. Hope everyone's doing well this evening. How's it going, Chewy? Hope you're doing great. Uh, I've done a little bit, not a lot. And basically, the little bit that I've done is I popped off the ends of the fan connectors that I just threw on the ground and replaced them with microfit 3 connectors because I don't have connectors that will match these ones, I don't think. These look to be like the style that are used on duet boards. So the plan is microfit 3 up here at the front. Let me switch over here. So we did 4-way microfit 3s. What is going on with you now? Neither one of these cameras are. There we go. Bring it in a little bit. Yeah. So I swapped out for microfit 3 connectors here. And I took a couple of the long motor wires that we had and crimped them in the same color order so that they'll match up color order wise here. And we'll be able to line those up, plug them in for each one, and then we'll be able to run these back to the other or to the rear of the printer. So these will get plugged in like so, which will also make maintenance on the tool head a little bit easier. Why am I not there? We should be able to take these, maybe push them down and stack them like that. So it might get close to the tube. But if we can push them down, stack them like that, or we'll just try and pull them up. We don't have to necessarily use this tie down point. We can use this one, or potentially tie down the USB cable there, then add these two at the top over the top of it for this other side tie down point here that's on the side here. But regardless, these will get brought to the back of the printer, and the plan is, as you might be able to see right here, is some type of back panel. I did this. The problem is the one gland that I have, I don't know if it will be large enough for all of the wires I need to run through it. Hey, Eagle the Dragon. Hey, Da Vinci. Because that's a pretty small orifice, and it works just well enough if you're just using a CANBUS cable. Because I need the CANBUS cable, fans, and a USB cable, I'm going to need a bigger gland. So my options. One, I've ordered a larger gland, a couple of larger glands that'll be in tomorrow. It should be able to fit directly in here and get clamped down. The other side, this left side hole here, would be for a DC 4 to 10 pass-through Bowden tube. The other thing is I just found a couple of things here. there is this split exhaust system, which once again puts a PC4 to 10 pass-through Bowden connector, and then this side here, this is a two-piece print, allows you to put a pug, so a printed umbilical pass-through in there. This also has a spot for a USB cable to go through. So I can either run everything through there or run the USB cable through that way as well. So a couple of options here. I'm thinking about potentially printing this out, just popping this back off, tossing it, printing this out, and doing the one that will also enable for the USB cable. I'll just have to print the back plate out, print the pub gland out, and get everything put together. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at this point. Do you have your coffee and donuts? Well, Eagle, I made coffee and I don't have donuts. So I'll have to figure that out. But I know some people had talked about doing the pug or parametric umbilical gland last stream. I like it, but it's not, it doesn't bend and flex unless you print it out a TPU. And I'm not sure, I think TPU will hold up to a heated chamber, but my concern is this comes back and I have a very rigid spot here and it comes out to about there. We're going to be running into things, potentially. So I want to be careful of that. Oh, pull that through. Okay. I also know that we need to crimp the cable for the motor, and it needs to be a fairly, well, it doesn't need to be, but we'll want it to be fairly short. It's a small jump from this side to top here. We'll need to, you see, I've got the thermistor and the heater installed. I did that off stream just because I was trying to make sure that I could get it all installed. And I'm trying to think. I've done too many things lately. I'm trying to think if we've actually. Okay, I put CANBUS on this board. CANBUS or catapult on this board. So we're to the point where we'd have to wire up the CANBUS and apply CANBUS power, so the 24 volt over CANBUS, to configure it the rest of the way for CANBUS. So to do that, we're going to need to create this cable, which will also go through whatever gland, which is another reason why I think I'll go with the PUBG. And then we need to do a motor wire. So I've got an old small piece of motor wire here. And what I'm going to do is, here's an AB motor wire that we took off of this printer. I'm basically going to look at both sides to see what the pattern is, right? The 4-pin to the 6-pin. Well, this is the pattern on this cable for my 4-pin. So how do I need to make the 6-pin side of this for the motor? So that's what we're going to do. And I'll make this, you know, the correct and appropriate size so that it's not a lot of wasted cable. Hey Pete, how's it going? In fact, I'll go ahead and cut this to length right now. And if I seem like I'm jumping around, kind of like I'm schizophrenic, it's probably because I'm sort of that way right now. So we're working on this. I've been working on the key detect sitting down here on the floor. We've been working on the Optimus P1, which is printing, and it's printing semi-decently. But I think before long we're going to do a brain swap on it and make it clipper. Just way too slow. I went over to Ecovate on Sunday to play around with the P1 some. Wound up bringing home a Mercury 1.1 that was given, like it was supposed to go to Waters for him to work on it for somebody, and they said, here, I don't want it anymore, I'm done screwing with it. So, and Waters had it sitting there for like a year. I was like, hey, I've got some experience, I've built a few of them, so let me just bring it home and I'll get it working. So it's here right now, sitting downstairs, and I've been trying to finish out the toolhead wiring on it. Had to basically reprint all of the toolhead parts. It was missing like half the screws in the toolhead, but I will say I digress there. What I need to do is find my 6-pin and the right size 6-pin connectors. It's the downside of having way too many sets of JST connectors. I believe this is correct. These are the PH size connectors. 6-pin PH. Yes. Give it back. An empty connector. Give it back. Oh, thank you. So we'll have to go through and do some of these. These are a joy. How's it going, Pete? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, these connectors are a joy to work with because they're so small. They're not as small as the ones on the SB2209, but they're pretty darn small. So we'll have to do the motor wire, and then we'll have to fabricate our CANBUS cable. And I am making the choice to fabricate my CANBUS cable because the alternative is cutting a cable that's already got the end for a whatchamacallit, an SB2209, and that just means that now that SB2209 is useless. So we don't want that. And I'm gonna have to figure out what color to cut this. For now, I will bring you guys down here, kind of to the workbench. And once again, I'm going to take this wire, which is a no good paired up wire for a motor. And wire colors don't matter. It's more of getting the order of the wires between connectors correct. So I'll go ahead and start working on just getting these stripped and connectors on them, and then we'll go from there. I hope everybody's doing well today. It's been a bit of a crazy week. I had an interview. I was conducting an interview this afternoon, and I swear the person was trying to answer via ChatGPT. Because when you answer a question and you see them, they keep kind of looking up and their eyes are moving left to right. Kind of a good indication that they're reading off of a screen, and they're not going to be reading their resume or anything like that, trying to answer a technical question when you give them a scenario. So I have a feeling they were trying to do it via ChatGPT. Needless to say, they're not going to get the position. Okay. That's what I mean by focus. Here we go. Tiny connectors, right? These are pretty small. They're, like I said, they're not as small and tiny and painful as the um, ones on the SB2209, but they're not much better either. Hey, Tugboat, how's it going? Long time no see. Um, Da Vinci, welcome in. Welcome in. Um, so Tugboat, you guys are gonna have a table at Rocky Mountain? Yep, may only be one or two of us, so that's cool. Yeah, I'm gonna be there, and um, oh, finals are that week. That sucks. Yeah, I will be there, and I'm trying to figure out because KB3D was over on the side. Well, is supposed to be over on the side where you guys are, or were last year. So I may be over on that side of the venue. Um, but I was gonna say if you bring your Rook and or any other printers that you guys are working on, and I'll be more than happy to come over and take a look and help you out. The I know you guys have been having some issues still on the Rook, just getting it set up, and I want to make sure you guys are good to go. The I am not planning on bringing multiple printers like I normally do. I may bring a couple, but not a whole ton. We're going to have several death racers because we're bringing the ones for KB3D and a dragster for both me and KB3D. Death racer for Mrs. Dragon, death racer for us. And I had tried talking with Jason, and I know that he's out at Rapid right now, but I wanted to see, like, I had an idea or concept of building a box turtle I was thinking about building a box turtle during the show and then letting them do the giveaway for it. So that was my thought, at least, was seeing if they wanted to do that. The because I was thinking I would build it at my table and then take it back to their booth for the actual giveaway. If that was something that they were interested in doing, I know he said that he didn't have the booth to do the giveaway or the to build. I was like, oh, I'll build it at my table. I just wanted, I just wanted to have something to do. I'll build it and you can give it away. But I know they're probably going to have at least one box turtle that they're going to be doing a giveaway on anyhow. Um, like a kit. I was like, I'm sure there would be some people that would much rather have a completed one on, twist fork. That's something I was reaching out to Jason about. I don't know where we're at on that, but that's a thought. Glad they came out with a map. Exactly, there you go. They did come out with a map. So basically what I did was I've got red and blue. So the two outer ones are in the same position and the two middle ones get rotated on the wire here. So I'm out. So if you look at this wire here, you've got, get undone here, on the standard motor wire, your outside colors, so black and blue, are the same on the 6 and the 4 pin, and then the 2 in the middle cross. So that's all I've done is created a short motor cable based on that pinout scheme, and that should be good for this motor for the extruder. I say should. It's been known to throw me for a loop sometimes when I take for granted that things might actually be pinned the same between motors, but it is a good first cut at doing motor wires for that motor. Now, let me put this back over there, out of the way. So we've now got our motor wire connected and fairly even. We've got our 2 wires here for our fans. We've got our wire here for our, whatchamacallit, the beacon probe. We'd probably go ahead and do some zip ties, but I'm going to hold off for now. And the other thing we're going to want to do is create our CANBUS cable. So there's going to be a specific order to our CANBUS plug, and we want to make sure that we do that right. Otherwise, we send voltages in the wrong place and we let out the magic smoke. And that would be bad. So we'll try not to do that. Our CANBUS connector, they did give us the right pins for that in the CANBUS box. We'll be good there. And I'm going to try and use this last bit of wire that I have, which is green, yellow, red, and black. So my green and yellow are going to be 24 gauge wire. You could probably get away with 26 gauge if you had it, but you would at least want 26 to 24 gauge on this wire. And I'm going to try and get at least a little bit less spiraling. Now, what you want to do, since our CANBUS is going to be relatively in the center back here, take your tool head and go all the way to the front and all the way to a side. Okay? That's the farthest reach of your tool head. I'm going to go through the pub gland back here. I'm going to come over and just say, boom, there we go. We'll zip tie it up here. We'll have our umbilical. We don't want it to be full tight. We know we're going to come down the back side and we're going to go into a plug at the back side. And that plug's about right there. So this is roughly the length of cable that we need, right? I can make it a little bit longer, give myself a little bit of extra playroom, maybe if I screw up a connector here or there. So there we go. Now what I'll do is we've got green. Green is our low. Yellow is going to be our high. We'll come over here and grab our yellow and we'll pull out the same amount as the green. I probably should have just kept that all the same length because I keep forgetting that these are your data wires and you want to twist your data wires. Your data wires should be twisted about one twist every inch. Okay, so there's the green. This will be the yellow. So now that we've figured out our relative length, we need to go ahead and start our connectors. So one end's going to get our big JST connector, or not JST, DuPont connector, or not DuPont, dang it, it's a microfit connector. Jeez. Now these get real easy because they're rather big. The only problem here is 24 gauge wire is now semi-small for this size, but we'll make it work. So just like a JST connector, you put your wire in so that your insulation is going to stop at the first set of crimps. You crimp down and it doesn't grab hold of anything. Not a problem. So the other thing with these large crimps is the area that can crimp over the wire is a long piece. So I normally wind up doing what I just did, and I crimp down on the front edge of the connector and not the back edge. So this side crimped down, this side didn't, and I didn't have enough wire stuck in there for it to actually crimp down on it successfully. So go through and we'll get that started again. Make sure we're towards the back of that part of the connector. Give it a good crimp. Probably bring you down a little bit more where I'm normally working at. Then we got to crimp the top edge around. And there we go. There's a good crimp. So this first crimp piece here is around the bare wire. And then the second crimp is around the insulation. That's one wire. Need to do the other wire to be the green wire. You saw Jason today. Did you go over to Rapid today, Chewy? Hey, Ramon, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. So you might have heard me mention that it's going to be a short stream at the beginning. And that is because, one, I'm dealing with some major allergies today. And two, there's like 3 different streamers, like MakerMind Nexus is streaming right now over on YouTube, starting at 6. At 7, Armored 3D, I believe, is working on the box turtle build for his Ender 3NG. And then at 8, Lee Marie starts. So, like, you guys are killing me. You're all streaming the same day. Hey, Shrimp Father, how's it going? So now we've got our ground and our high wires going. So we're going to need 2 more wires, and this needs to be at least 20 gauge. Now, I don't have any more 20 gauge, so this is 18 gauge. And it should be fine on this, on the tool head end. It might be a little painful on the 4 connector at the other side at my skirt, but we'll make it work. And so once again, we're going to go with the same length. I'm just going to grab one of these. We'll grab the green one again. We'll match up the ends. Put our finger in there. We're just going to pull it out. Making sure to keep the 2 together. Okay. And then there will be our black wire, or DC ground or DC negative. We'll grab our red wire and do the same thing for the power. Remember, this is DC power. This is 24-volt power. I say that because I have been the one that has put 110 voltage to a CANBUS board. That ended poorly. So make sure to validate before you turn anything on. Validate all of your power. Make sure that your CANBUS is only going to 24 volt. If you put 110 to your component, at the very least, you're going to blow the tool head board. At the worst, you're going to blow the tool head board and components on the tool head. Maybe it's just a fan. Okay, no big deal. If you blow a thermistor, it might be a big deal, right? If you blow a heater, it might be a big deal. You don't have those spare parts, so. Now your power wires, you do not need to twist your power wires. You only need to twist your data wires because you're trying to keep the interference from the power wires from impacting your data. So I bring it all back out a little bit. So once again, we need one of our large connectors. Because this is a bigger cable, we can go with the 1.6 and the 1.9 slot on our iWis. Smaller cables, I need to crimp down at the 1.3 for that smaller cable. That's how that crimp looks. And common sense would have said that I would have looked at the order that this goes into the tool head by now, but I haven't, so we'll have to figure that out on the fly as well. Hey, Bearded Printer, how's it going? 3D printing is not staying up there this year. What do you mean by that, Tugboat? Thank you for the resubscribe there, Tugboat, for 11 months. That is awesome. How's it going, Shrimp Father? As you can see, they give you plenty of cables, or plenty of fasteners to work with here. And like I said, I could have just used the CANBUS wire from the previous build, but it's configured for the XT30 by 2. So it's the XT30 with the 2 JSTs. And one, I don't have any of those. So if I if I cut that up, then I have to make one of these for another board that uses that standard, and I don't have those connectors. So I didn't have to go and buy those connectors, and you're soldering those XT30 connectors, which can be a pain in the butt sometimes. So, okay, we'll put that over there with some of the excess. Grab some coffee. Oh, you're not staying up there. You're driving back and forth. Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah. I don't blame you. I about choked when I saw the prices at the hotel. Um, the Dragon, Team Digital Dragon, is actually staying in Longmont and driving the 20 miles in every day because it was stupid crazy. Okay, so now what we need to do is go ahead. Where's the? Are you serious? I closed out the page for the EB. So we're going to bring up the EBB diagram. So we've got our EBB board here, pretty sparse. It doesn't actually give me the pin identifiers here, but what it does tell me is on the board here, we have ground, 24 volt, can low, can high. So you go, well, what do you mean? How are you looking at that and looking at the board and know that what way it is? So I wish I could show you the board because it's not going to be easy. I'm going to pull this over towards me, and looking at the board, you've got a 4-pin connector like this, right? So there's a 4-pin receptacle, and it comes down and it's got 2 sets of pins. The first 2 pins that are closest to the board are the topmost 90 degree. next two pins come further out and go down. So if you look at these four, in fact, I'm going to go full display. So we're looking at this area right here that I just highlighted. Okay? Ground, negative pin. 24 volt, positive pin. Can low, L. Can high, high. Okay? So what we need to do, looking at the plug, is our ground is going to be this pin over here. Whoop, this pin over here. So you're going to have ground, 24 volt, can low, can high. So our ground, which is our black, is going to go into what will essentially be the bottom right of this connector when you're looking at it and inserting the pin. Your 24 volt is going to be right next to it. Okay, give it the little wiggle jiggle test. And then your low, which is our green, right? Grass is on the ground, so that's our low. Will go over the top of the ground cable, like so. Get it in the right rotation. And then yellow, sun, high in the sky. This goes next to the green over the red cable. There is your 4-pin connector. Now, you heard me say that we need our green and yellow need to be twisted at least once every inch. So here's what I tend to do. Take my connector, go back to the bench view. I take my connector up here and I put my two CANBUS wires at the top and my hot and or ground and 24 volt wires underneath. Okay? And then I just sit here and I play braid my hair. This gives me something to pull against as I'm braiding. And it doesn't have to be a tight braid. Some people will put the ends in a drill and just go bzz. Okay. That works. I've done several CANBUS cables this way for my 0Gs and haven't had an issue with any of them yet. And you can loosely braid this down, and if you feel like you need a little bit more twist, then you can come back in and just twist the whole wire set. Okay. Now we're good. I'm going to just kind of make a tighter wrap around the end so it doesn't go running off on me. And now we've got our wires done. And we'll be ready to do this side. Now this side is going to be a 4-pin microfit side by side. So it'll be 4 pins side by side. And I'm just going to wrap this around a bit. because what I need to do is figure out the right cable color direction thingy. So we're going to grab one of the ends on our, where are you going? Oh, you got a piece of filament on it. Full of filament on you. I'm going to look at one of my previously done cables for my my box turtle. Red, ground, low, high. Red, ground, low, high. Okay, so now we can do the 4 connectors on the other end, and we can get this ready. However, this is going to be a set of smaller connectors. So we'll need some, this will be a 4-pin like this. And this is where I said it might be a little bit more of a pain with the 18 gauge wires, because these are going to be smaller pin connectors. And let me think. This is male. So this is what we refer to as a male, because this part of the connector goes in the other side. So this is the male side of the connector, which means you need the female pins. So male plastic connector takes female pins, in this case the ones that are like square tubes. And then on your other side, which would be your gaining receptacle, or the female side that this would slide into and lock, this would be the female side, and it would get a male connector, which would be more of the pointy pen style. Hopefully that helps. So we'll need a few of these. Hey, Adam, how's it going? Welcome on in. Welcome on in. I would ask if you were going to be at Remurf, but I believe you are, right? You're going to be there probably with the Hugh Forge team. So for starters, I'm going to do the larger cables, and I might just sit because, well, my back's telling me I need to. Water. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Rocky Mountain. Like I said, my plan is not necessarily to bring and have as many printers as I normally do. I think the plan is going to be that printers that I bring will be up for grabs, and the goal will be really to talk to more people there, talk to some of the vendors to try and set up opportunities for the year. Oh, yeah, no. And, just kind of enjoy this show a little bit, since I didn't really get to the last time. And I reached out to Jason at LDO with a thought or an offer of building a box turtle during the show that he can then give away on the last day of the show. That is my desire. Sit there and build something, because that's kind of what I'm known for, is doing builds. And then at the end of everything, be able to give that away so I don't bring it home. We have got a couple of projects already in the works. We've got the Centauri carbon that's going to come in. We've got a Crucicore 1 that may actually come in this week. We still have a CR10 to put together. We're going to be rebuilding the Ender 5 Plus based 0G Mercury 1. So you guys remember me doing the Ender 5 Pro size with the custom frame to it. Well, that is called Nebula, and that is now out, and you can get it from KB3D. And it's basically I believe it's LDO, because it's an LDO space frame is the one that I got, or space gray frame. But like I originally, when I did my prototype, I did it with Misumi extrusion, and that worked out really well. Having an LDO frame is going to be kind of nice, because just like all LDO stuff, fit and finish is going to be very nice. So I don't have to worry about that. And wire got away. That off. So I've got the kit to do that frame. So that'll be cool. And we'll be rebranding it or recoloring it, however you want to call it, with all new printed parts. And in fact, I'm talking to Turtle Crawler right now, because there may be some other upgrades happening to it instead of just maybe printed parts. So I gotta see if I can get my hands on some other options that are cooking in the background. Options that would be a little bit better for the Ender 5 Plus size printer. They give you an idea. So yeah, we're working on a few things. I've got an Ender 5 Plus here that I've been working on for waters. That should be done and able to go back in a couple of days. My plan is, or was, to try and get it done so I can take it back with me tomorrow. But it may wind up going back on Thursday. And there will not be a stream on Thursday, because I have to pick up Mrs. Dragon from the train station that evening. I believe she's coming in at 5, and it's also her birthday. So we're going to go somewhere for her birthday, as long as she's willing to go somewhere after sitting on a train for like 5 hours. Okay, so these 4 wires are done. Now let me pull them out. And once again, I'm going to double check my wiring. We are red, black, green, yellow. So take our 4-pin connector, and I was looking at the connector from this side. So it's red, black, green, yellow. So 4 wires. Red is all the way on the left. Black is next. On you. And green. And yellow. And the only thing with the with microfits is you have to make sure that they're in the right orientation when you put them in. Otherwise, the wings won't connect or flip out and hold it in place. And I think that's why this black one keeps partially twisting on me. There we go. Okay. So we now have our custom. Oh, did I just loop this in on itself? I sure did. Good gracious Gertie. Where are you going to? Of course, the one that I was fighting with, the black one, is also the one that is looped around, but that's okay. So we've got our custom cable now. So this, once again, we'll lay it through the back. We'll be able to plug this in here at the top. Okay. What we got? We have thermistor and heater, part cooling fan, and whoa. Okay. So thermistor, heater on this side, our part cooling fans, our beacon probe on this side, the motor coming to the motor, and then our CANBUS wires that are going to come up and go back along with everything else here. So that, in essence, is our tool head. We're going to wind up doing centerless homing on X, and then Y is in the back here. There is no spot to do a pod on this configuration, but that's going to be our XFD tool head, or yeah, FXD tool head. Now, we already have the, like I said, catapult installed on the tool head board. So once we get the final wiring done up, then it will be simply going underneath, verifying all the wiring is done. For some reason, there's something in the back of my mind that says there's something that needs to be addressed. So I'll have to look through all that. But wiring wise, I mean, we're going to have to make some wires smaller or route them around and realize once again that these are fans, so we may have to re-terminate these for the fans. But I think we're going to be somewhat good to go. I want to put some zip ties on here and zip tie some things up. That one goes there. There's another one right there, and I might have to get a different size, maybe. Oh, that works good. And at this point, we'll bring these two up and join them. Try and stack them, though we may have to figure this out. I really don't want to have to whatchamacallit, extend and then, like, I don't want to have to extend these wires up to make the joint higher up, because if that's the case, then I'll just extend all of it all the way back and get rid of the connectors at the front, which will reduce the ease of maintenance. But I do need to make sure that we keep clearance here. And we do have clearance. It's not pretty, but we have clearance. Let's put these away. Come in here, we'll cut that one. Probably should have cut the other one before I put something right in front of it. No. We'll need to zip tie over on this side for the other wires. Hey, Zombie, how's it going? I know he just popped in and then went straight to lurk, which sucks because I really wanted to ask him about his, because I think he's done this upgrade. Takeoff toolhead at least. A lurk? Okay. So Zombie, what did you do with your part cooling fans? And did you do a tool head board at all, or did you just create one big ugly umbilical that goes back? These are going to be M3. Double check. You're around just listening? You've done a takeoff, right? Oh, that thing. You've not. You have an NH36 running everything. You have an NH30. Oh, a Nighthawk 36. So the Nighthawk, I was looking, the Nighthawk doesn't allow you to change fans, right? How'd you do your fans? Because the Nighthawk is 24 volt in, and so the fans would run at the same thing. Because these are the Delta fans with the 4-pin connectors. Okay, so you did run the fan wires all the way back, which is what you did, what ModBot did, probably what Taylor did as well when he did his. Okay. Just making sure that we're all tracking the same way. I can't believe that the only tool head board that allows you to select the voltage is an SB2209 or 2240. Yeah. Well, and that was my other thought too, is do I combine this into a single connector and just take one wire back, or do I take them back as two different ones? Because you've got a 4-wire and there's 2 4-wires on the Octopus. Because that was the other option. But once again, these wires here, because mine came with crimps already on them, there's not enough room really to make a 2-into-1. Yeah, So on the board I have, which is a Manta M8P, there are two different fan ports. So we're good there. M3 by, because these are 8s, so I think that's just going to be too thick. Do I have M3 by 6 over here? I do. These will be as small as I can get. You need 4 total, unless it happens to have. No, that's what I'm saying. There's two 4-pin fan ports on this board. And then what I'm going to do here is ModBot designed these little clips to help hold the wires up here. And I noticed that he had actually run his with the like heater and everything going through the same side. I ran my heater through one side, just reduced the number of wires. Come on, you. Here. Yeah, M8P. Go. So we'll have these wires, this wire, and like I said, if I switch over and do the pug, then these will come over. My USB will be right underneath it, right? About like that. And then we'll have our PTFE that'll come around and go into the top. So there we go. We've got some spots here where we can zip tie everything together front to back. And then that'll make for our cable chain. We'll put some cable cloth on it. In fact, got some right here. We'll leave the USB cable out for now because that will go in its separate way. It's a Manta V2, M8P V2. There is two 4-pin connectors down at the bottom. Or I say down at the bottom, but there are two 4-pin connectors on the board. And once again, I'm going to print out the pub, a pub gland for this and an appropriate back panel that the pub gland will fit into. So that will make this as pretty as possible. Yeah, ground, 12 volt, and 2 signal pins, exactly. So you can do RPM monitoring as well as PWM. That's correct. So these wires are the 4 pins so that they have PWM, but they also have tach, so you can monitor the fans. because once again, these are server class 12-volt fans, and on expensive servers, you always want to have monitoring of any and every piece of equipment that you can in there, because the last thing you want is for your fans to go kaput and you not realize it, and then you start cooking things basically in your data center. Go down there? No, but that's okay. We'll throw a couple of zip ties around that. Open up a bit. You can do it. There you go. Throw a couple of zip ties around this. That gives us our umbilical. We'll zip tie the whatchamacallit, the other wire. Our USB wire will zip tie in as well. We'll just zip tie it all together, and that will give us our umbilical. Hey, Pezliz, how's it going? Welcome on in. We're just trying to tidy up some wiring. Kind of planning for a shorter stream today because I wanted to go over and listen to, what's her name? Lee Marie. And I know Dan Borio is also running right now on YouTube. And it's after 7, so what's his name? Armor 3D should be doing his box turtle build for his Ender 3NG. So, I'm waiting for my Core 1 kit to come in. It has shipped, and my understanding from Beverly at Echovate is it's on a plane, not a boat. So that's better. That means it should get in fairly quickly. The Baby Belt Pro. So Fabrico is sending me a Baby Belt Pro kit, and that should be here later this week. It's coming in via USP or UPS. So that should be here later this week. And once that comes in, I'll be able to, well, I actually need to start printing the parts for it. But there may be other things that I need to print parts for first for Rocky Mountain. So we'll see if we get the Baby Belt started before or after Rocky Mountain. Just depends on how frazzled I'm feeling between now and then. Yes, you see a Chube hot end on a Trident. So this is my Trident 350. This was built from, I'll say, a set of deep fried hero kits for the Trident, which is why we had to do a couple of things. So we've added some spacers to drop our 3 lead screws down a little bit to get us some extra clearance for the Takeoff tool head, which hangs down a lot more and goes front to back. We needed to update the main board because the main board in this was a Manta M5P. We've swapped that out for a Manta M8P because, as you can tell, we've got 4 motors at the top. So we have installed a Siboor all metal, all-wheel drive kit. So all of our front idlers, our XY joints, the rear mounts are all aluminum CNC metal. No printed parts whatsoever in them. I left the titanium backers on here just because, well, just because I had them, so I put them on. We're rocking a Takeoff tool head, which is SLM printed, which is, was it selected laser melting, which is basically melting layers of metal powder. So this is an aluminum 3D print tool head. It's got a beacon H probe. The Siboor kit came with a cartographer. The cartographer won't fit on the mount. So the cartographer will have to go on something else down the road. And we went ahead and bought a beacon H when we bought the Manta M8P to be the brain for this. So this is running with 3628 Delta fans. These are something like some stupid crazy amount of CFM per minute. These are server class fans for data centers, and they sound like it. If you've ever heard my rat rig start up, that's the sound that these make. And there's two of them, where that one's normally one, now it's two because there's an IDEX. Awesome tool head. The belt's a little bit fiddly. I'm running the FXD extruder on it with a Bondtech Pancake NEMA 17 motor. Because we're running a NEMA 17, I've got an EBB42 hanging on the back of it. This tool head's going to be great on this printer, yes. So this has a Chube, and riding in this Chube is a Undertaker 1.0 nozzle. Big build volume, asks for a big nozzle. I've got some 5s and some others that I can put in here, but this is a 1.0 nozzle. So I want to be able to do some fat layer lines, and I really need to start just buckling down to get a good profile with a 1.0 nozzle. Because eventually, you guys have seen me posting about the Optimus P1, right? I'll say the next iteration of the toolhead build may be a complete custom toolhead. Like, get rid of their stuff, pull out a bunch of wiring, just go with the straight CANBUS, and most likely it's going to wind up with a Chube. Well, right now what it could wind up with is titanium heat break, nickel plated copper heat block, 100-watt heater, and a vanadium coated Bondtech CHT 1.0 nozzle on it. The 600 by 600 by 1000 millimeter build volume on that thing, it needs something big. Because right now it's got a 0.4 nozzle on it, and it's stupid slow. So, hey Maker Viking, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, so that's the thing. And I've got another Chube sitting here. That Chube was destined to go into the Annex Engineering K3 because Poity at Murph this year, or last year, gave me a set of metal party plates for a Chube. So I could swap out and get rid of the, I'd be able to get rid of the Rapido Ultra High Flow and go to a Chube in that. Now, a Chube in an Annex K3, which is like a 180 build volume, it would be a 0.4, 0.5 nozzle. There's no sense in going to a 1.0 nozzle in that. The build volume's not as big. I'll save my 1.0 nozzles for bigger things, but thick as a dog though, I'm doing pretty good. I'm dealing with allergies. Like the pollen here is off the chain. It's just been crazy. So I've been dealing with some allergies. What else am I thinking of here? Yeah, that's the big thing. We went to all-wheel drive. These are 9mm belts on an all-wheel drive setup. So we added 2 more motors to this. We're adding the Chube. This has a 100-watt heater in it and a PT1000 thermistor. So this kit also came with a 200-watt UHP. I've swapped the 200 watt out for a 350 because we added a 100 watt heater. We've added 2 more motors. We needed to up the game a little bit. So yeah, allergies were no fun today. It put me down. I wound up taking some allergy meds and just posted in chat like, hey, I'm going down for a short bit dealing with these allergies. And it knocked me out for for about an hour. Okay, so pretty interesting. So we don't have a BL Touch. So one of the other things that we can look at here, let me do browser window. So it's pretty weird. We're running our CANBUS. We have the motor. We have the hot end heater, and we've got the thermistor. That's all. No end stops, no RGBs, no toolhead RGBs here, nothing running I2C, BL Touch, nothing like that. Now we can use the end stop if we decide to figure out a way of doing an inline filament runout sensor on this. Yeah, definitely hope you get better. Yeah, feeling better soon, Maker Viking. You know, we could use some end stops to do like a filament runout sensor on this. I don't know if it would work on this. I have seen, at least for like a Sherpa, and I think the Sherpa Mini, because they use the same mount pattern, we'll say a riser that sets up between here that has a cutter and stuff on it, so you'd be able to do something like that. But with the FXD here, we're not going to have anything like that. Yeah, that's pretty much all I can really do tonight until I'm going to have to reprint a back plate. And the back plate that I'm going to print is, let me go full display and come up here. So I'm going to do, where'd I go? Oh, here. I'm going to do this back plate. This is a 2-part back plate that uses a pug, so a 3D printed pug part. And this has the ability for the PTFE tube, the pug connector, and then you'll see right here, this is the USB cable that comes through. So there is a little cutout for your USB cable as well. So that way I'll be able to get everything here. It'll be properly cable strain relieved. We'll do a couple of zip ties around the umbilical and our PTFE tube, and that should be good to keep everything nice and constrained. And then we'll be able to do the rest of the wiring. Everything is already configured. The last thing I need to do is flash clipper to the toolhead board, and I think the rest of the toolhead board stuff I may have already gotten configured in the printer config. If not, we got to do that. The next stream for this, which would be Saturday, so this coming Thursday, I'm not going to be streaming. Mrs. Dragon is up in DC right now, doing some advocating for siblings and early childhood stuff. So when Mrs. Dragon gets back Thursday, she's coming back into town at like 5, I believe. So I've got to pick her up from the train station, which means we're not going to be home to stream. And I'm going to see if she's done sitting and just wants to come home, or she feels like going to dinner, because it's also her birthday on Thursday. So next stream will be Saturday. I don't plan on streaming tomorrow. No, who knows? Maybe, but I'm not planning to. Yeah, and that's kind of where we're at for right now. We're closer. We're getting closer to this. We've got the last few things ready to go. We just need to tidy up a few things underneath the deck panel here and double check the wire. What happened? Why did my camera go? Hey, you, wake up. I must have said a word that was a keyword, or it thought I said a keyword. But we've got a couple more things to tidy up underneath here. I'll get this part reprinted or get the different part printed so that we're ready to go there. And yeah, I think we're going to be golden. So let me see where we can rate out to. I know we're rating out way early. It's a short stream today. That's really because I don't want to get into the underneath electronics, because once I go to get in there, I've got to make, I'm going to be cutting some things shorter, and I really need to get this back part printed, get all this situated first before I come down here and really start cutting things down. And then, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. That, and I want to go over and see a couple of other people. There's like 5 people streaming tonight that I really want to see. So let me, that and, sorry guys, I am a bit tired. These allergies have put me down under for the day. So I may take some more allergy meds and take another nap as well. Get some food. Let's see who's up and running right now. Got some way cool wood. Doing carving a bunny. Wanna play a game, maker deck. Nordic skull. I believe also playing a game. Declarations is chatting. Holotech is starting another computer build. Then Heresy's doing some soldering in KiCad. KiCad. What do you guys think? You want to go watch some woodworking? Go watch some woodworking. We haven't been over to Way Cool Wood in a while. So I'm going to go ahead and get this started. Once again, I know this was a very short stream. Thank you all for being here with me this evening. We're going to head over to Way Cool Wood. No stream on Thursday because Mrs. Dragon's coming home. We'll stream again Saturday, and we should have all the parts that came in, and we have the parts printed up, and we're going to be able to button this up and get movement and hopefully see about pushing some plastic on Saturday morning. So I'll see everybody Saturday morning. And once again, there's going to be some changes in the schedule as well for Saturdays, because we're going to start doing the once a month maker meetup here in Raleigh. I'm apparently the one that's coordinating that out at Ecovate. So this month it's going to be a morning. So on April, I believe it's 26th, which is 2 Saturdays from now, we will stream later in the day because I'll be out at Ecovate from noon to 3-ish. So we'll stream later in the day. And then the following month will be an evening maker meetup. So I have to end probably by 2 so that I can get all ready and head over to do that. So just some things going on, trying to get things coordinated out. All right, everybody. Everybody here on YouTube, thank you for being here. If you like the content below, please like and subscribe. Be sure to check that bell to get notified of future videos when they become available. YouTube's going to be suggesting a new video over here on the right. Thank you very much.